That Gospel Message by Hare. Numerous indeed have been the agencies employed in spreading what is known among men as the Gospel, and numerous still are the methods employed and the efforts made to waken the minds of men and nations to an understanding of the Gospel. But there are features of the Gospel, as God sees it, that all these agencies seem to have either missed or regarded as unnecessary. There is a prediction, marvelous both in its scope and character, found in Revelation 14:6 and 7, that none of the great evangelic movements of gospel history have fulfilled. This passage reads as follows: I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell upon the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to Him, for the hour of His judgment is come. And worship Him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. We here learn that the proclamation of the judgment come is a part of the gospel message for the last days. In fact, it is just as much a part of the gospel to the last generation as Noah's message respecting the flood was the gospel to the men of his day. We see too that by this gospel message the attention of man is called to the Creator. And so as to make no mistake as to the plan of revealing the Creator, part of the fourth commandment is embodied in the message. Worship Him who made heaven and earth and sea. See how this corresponds with the language found in the Sabbath law. In 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea. Exodus 20:11. It is very evident then that sometime in the world's history before the second coming of Christ, a message bearing the Sabbath, the judgment announcement, and of necessity the law of Jehovah must be carried to all nations and people. It will be a gospel message, and the angels of God will assist in making it known to all kindreds and tongues. Have you yet heard such a message? Whether you have or not, it is going to the world today. Yes, to all nations, kindreds, tongues, and peoples, and the angels of God are assisting in the great work of spreading the gospel message as God knows it. If you meet a message bearing the Sabbath, the judgment announcement, and the law of Jehovah, you had better accept it, and then join with the angels in giving it as God's message to this last generation of men. Popular such a message cannot be, but just as sure as the word of God is true, it must be given to the world. And woe to the messenger who fears or tarries now, for the king's business requireth haste. Opposition and persecution such a message must encounter, but the messenger has nothing to fear. God is well able to fulfill His word. We find therefore that as the result of this message and the warnings that follow, a people are gathered out, of whom it is said, Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Revelation 14:12. This message is no imaginary proclamation. It must be given, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. You will be on safe ground if you take hold of the work it appoints. It is a proclamation that precedes the second coming of Jesus Christ, just as the message of John preceded his first coming. God is now looking for true hearts who will not fear to carry His everlasting gospel to the world. This is the last opportunity that men will have of joining hands with the angels in the work of salvation.